Okay, we are moving on to our first health and fitness headline. So guys, are fitness trackers worth the hype? So we've got an article here. DJ's going to summarize for us, but I can't wait to talk about this because I've definitely tried my fair share of fitness trackers.
Yeah, same. Time.com, best fitness trackers to hack your health. I don't know if we're necessarily hacking our health with a fitness tracker.
That's for just clicks. That's the headline.
Oh, I
That's
know.
like, hey,
I know.
click me, hack.
But it basically just boils it down to a couple of different categories. It's how do I use this fitness tracker? How much can you afford to spend? Because some of them are pretty pricey, and it seems like there's a new one coming out twice a year. And so then trying to figure out which one's the best for you, and do they care about fashion or just the formality of the fitness tracker? How does it charge? It's breaking everything down. But I think really it's culminating all of the things that all of us are always wondering too, especially in the fitness industry, is do they work? Is one better than the other? Do we think that they're necessary? Is it really helping us with our goals, or is it just another thing that we're adding to the list that makes us feel like we're actually doing something, but in reality, it's just another one of those mental loops that you find yourself on.
Well, I'll share first my thoughts on fitness trackers because, like I said, I've tried a lot, and I think it's just a tool. So just one tool. It is not going to be the silver bullet of getting you healthy. It's not going to be the hack that gets you where you want to go. It's just a tool. And so what you're going to do with that tool is really up to you. I'm sure there are some that are better than others from an accuracy standpoint, but I can go all the way back to about 10 years ago. My first fitness tracker was a Garmin, and it tracked my calories and my steps.
Oh, man.
And I can remember being hyper obsessed with how many calories it said that I burned. And it was when I was in the height of being a trainer. So I was training like 38 camps a week. And by like 7 a.m., I'd done all the morning camps, and like I had a goal to hit, how many calories I've burned by then. And then I'd make sure I didn't eat more than that, so I was in this deficit, and it was an obsession for me. And so I've talked a lot about that in previous podcasts and stuff like that. And so for me at that time, it was not a healthy device for me. It wasn't a healthy tool because I was obsessive over it. And so I remember taking a pretty long break from a fitness tracker. And then the next one I picked up was the Whoop, because we were considering partnering with Whoop. And so I remember they gave me a free one, and I just didn't like something on my wrist all the time. That was a little bit of like a superficial reason why I didn't like it, but I wasn't really doing much with the data. And then I've tried the Oura Ring, and I did like that one because it was on my finger. I felt like it was a lot more comfortable to sleep with and stuff like that. And I will say the data I got out of that was my sleep cycles. Mm-hmm. And so I learned a lot about how good I was sleeping. And so, but I still found myself saying, okay, well, I woke up and it said I have bad sleep or my recovery is bad, but I'm not doing anything about it. I'm not changing my nighttime routine. I'm not working out because I didn't like the thought of waking up and a device telling me, hey, you should take it easy today. It's just not wired in me. So it felt counterintuitive to me doing things for myself. I felt like if I did go to the gym on those days, then I was doing something wrong for my body. So that's my experience with it. And so I don't use fitness trackers currently, not to say I won't ever. But I think it's all about just what you do with the data. Are you willing to change things? Is that why you're doing it? Or is it an obsession that's not healthy?
Yeah, I actually can just tap into that because my experience is very similar to yours. I got hung up on the calorie tracker. It was right after I had my kids. I literally just started at burn. I think I had an Apple Watch was my first device, wearable, if you will. And I was only focused on the calories and how many calories I was intaking and making sure I wasn't overeating. And then it was this mental battle. So for me, it was a mental game of I finally actually, after I had my third kid, so I wore it for a while, and I was obsessed about making sure I'd wear it to camp and start it, right? And I'd be so mad if I forgot to start my workout. But then after I had Jagger, my third, who's now 3, I actually stopped wearing it because I wanted to go into postpartum recovery just listening to my body and like really focus on my mental health and not about, how many calories I was burning. Cause I was, breastfeeding at the time and I needed to eat and I didn't want to have to worry about any of that. I had 2 older kids. Like I was busy also working a full-time job. I didn't need the extra noise in my head. So really mental health was the name of the game for me. But then as I kind of got back into it, I actually just now started wearing my Apple Watch a little bit more. I'm a big runner. I love to run. I also have been putting my watch on sometimes for camps only to track my heart rate. So for me, I think this is where you kind of have to figure out what works for you. Like I don't pay attention to the calories. I pay attention to my heart rate because then I know during a run, I also time myself. So if I push my pace and then I also look at my heart rate because for me, that's actually something that's accurate that it's tracking on me. So I can look to see like, hey, did I actually push myself to the best that I could have in that camp? Did I leave a little bit on the table or in that run? So that's where now I'm at where it's like, okay, I'm mentally strong enough to know like, this is what I don't want to focus on, but I do just because I'm a competitive with myself. It's always me versus me. And I always want to push myself a little bit more. So that's kind of where I'm at in the wearable space.
Yeah. That's good.
DJ Dad?
Yeah, for sure. I do the same thing. Like I'll wear it in like phases. So right now I'm just doing it to count my steps to see like, okay, on average, roughly, if I know I'm moving about this much throughout the day, then I'm going to hit like 10,000 steps. Because I've got 2 young kids, I'm active. So then I'm like, oh, okay, I know what this feels like. And then I can take it off and then I can just go about that and make sure that that's a part of my daily routine. But one thing that I do really like about the Oura Ring, and I think that's why a lot of other women specifically really enjoy it, is because it helps with tracking your
cycles.
your cycles.
Oh, that's
and with a lot of people who are now like this big birth control exodus, so many people are stopping taking it because it's messing with your hormones. To be able to track that, and it's your basal body temperature, and you can only track it like first thing in the morning. It's kind of a pain in the butt to be able to track it manually. And so that's the one thing that I think would potentially draw me to that. But then I don't, eventually over time, I feel like I would just not want to wear it anymore.
That's kind of how I was. It faded, but I think there's good things about it too. Some people that do need that accountability, or close the rings, it can motivate you as long as it's healthy.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I found that just working with members over the years that it's really based on your personality, like whether you're more like creative and artsy or more scientifically driven and you like numbers.
Yeah.
The people that tend to like the numbers tend to like, love it. They love the accessibility. It tells them exactly where they are. It creates certainty for them. And I definitely get that. And then the opposite side is like, I'm not wearing any technology. I'm one with the earth. Like I don't need technology intervening my earth experience, right? So then you have probably somewhere in the middle is where I am, to where I will use devices to manage and measure my progress, because we say in business, right? What doesn't get measured doesn't get managed, and what doesn't get managed doesn't get done. And so if we are just loosely going out there and not trying to educate ourselves, that's the key word. We say in our mission statement, we vow to educate, influence, and inspire. Education is the key word here, because if you're using this technology as a crutch so you don't have to learn it, and you can just look at a screen and it can just tell you things and suggest what to do, and you're just mindlessly doing that, well, I don't think it's going to be something that is actually going to be positive for your mental health in the long run, because a good professor or a good teacher, they don't want you to keep taking the class. They want you to graduate. They want you to not need them anymore. So if you have this obsessive, compulsive relationship with whether it's a food log or whether it's any numbers in general, weight, the scale is the old school 90s version of, Whoop
Fitness
and Aura
trackers,
and all that, right? So there's always been this obsession with numbers, and you've got to know yourself. It all goes back to that, like know yourself, know whether you're on that artsy scale or the science scale, and kind of use that as a simple gauge.
I'm just laughing because as you're saying that, I'm thinking of my husband, who I think the only time I've ever seen him take off his Whoop is to change the band. That smelled profusely because he literally wears it every single day.
He does.
And all of like our brand new baby pictures with Stevie, he's got his Whoop on, and I was like, you couldn't think to take that off for pictures, really? He's like, I gotta track it.
Well, it makes sense. He's our senior director of operations for media companies.
He probably would have had like a big tan line if he did. So maybe it's better he kept it on.
For sure. And that was his argument. And I was like, fair enough. But no.
So the way I personally use it is to educate myself. So I'll wear a Whoop, although the membership, options are tough for me because I only need it for 3 days at a time, every now and then.
Yeah.
And so same with food logs. The technology I do use to track my way I manage my fitness journey. Well, this year it's 3 tangible goals that are all performance based. So 200 and 250 camps, but I went to the top end and I'm trying to do 250 this year. To run, to break my record in a 5K, which was currently 18:54. And so I want to break that this year and then do 10 muscle ups. So the way I manage it is, and then I keep track through the Burn app and I'll keep track through my run. I will like log my miles and make sure that it's keeping all my miles so that I can manage my progress. It's pretty easy to manage 10 muscle ups. It's either you can do it or you can't do it. So I got the Burn app for one, met my run for my other goal, and then, obviously Morgan for the last goal.
bar.
I was like, hey, how you doing on those muscle ups?
Yeah.
Which is not good so far. I can't do.
All right, so we got to keep you
one yet.
accountable. Is
keep
what we're
me
saying.
accountable.
Burn Nation, help
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
Devin accountable.
Yeah, I got to start actually doing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My max rep's 5 ever, by the way.
All right.
And that was when I was like in the best shape of my life. And I'm going back there now, though. I feel good on my
Well, you're
my
crushing
personal
that
journey.
5K.
Yeah.
Mine's a 21 minute, so maybe we could motivate each other to.
You like to run too, don't
I
you?
love to run.
We
Yeah.
should do some hard 5Ks together.
Yeah, let's
That'd be
do it.
fun. For sure.
beat that 18.
Nice.
Yeah, let's get it.
Oh, the 5K tour. I remember it. So does DJ probably
Yeah,
really well.
I do.
I like to do
Was that
spontaneous things.
2018, you did like a 5K tour all over. Everywhere we went, you found a 5K.
Yeah, I sometimes will, and Morgan sometimes gets upset with me for, not upset, that's a strong word. She just gets like, really, Devin? Like when I create whiplash, which is like telling someone what to do or having a game plan and not communicating appropriately. I'm working on it. I'm getting much better, aren't I?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm getting much better. But it was like just kind of on the whim.
It was just
we
a
went
phase
out
in
to-
your life. And
Yeah.
it was a great phase for you.
Oh, it's
It
great.
was.
I like to be
Love that.
adventurous, spontaneous.
I'm pretty sure your hair was also bleached blonde.
It
so
was.
just a phase. Just a phase.